Pretty good.
Okay.
Thank you.
And first thing, we're going to deviate from the agenda for our first item. Mr. Bonaparte?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Commission, we've been contacted regarding a settlement for General Dynamics versus the City of Sanford, and we have Senator Simmons with us, and if you, Senator, would like to share. The attorney was going to bring this up during her part of the presentation at the regular meeting to get the consensus of the commission on moving forward. The Senator certainly can provide the context for that.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon. Wanted to bring you up to date with some of the more recent developments, and then simply ask that we have an executive meeting, closed meeting, just so that I can give you the just an update that would not be would contain privileged communications. Right now, I can say to you that the case is going very, very well. Obviously, what did happen with respect to the efforts of the city was for the city to, we believe, be able to obtain the funding with the FDEP, and that is on its way, moving forward. And we certainly appreciate the the cooperation with and by the DEP concerning the funding for the water treatment facility that was hoped for by the city. Additionally, we do have pending, of course, the action that is in federal court relating to the efforts by the city to obtain additional relief relating to the responsible parties. And in that respect, the responsible parties have asked us to enter into a joint motion to extend the trial date of the matter. It is presently set for December of 2026. And the first thing I can say to you is when the idea of trying a case in December arose, my response was to the opposing counsel, have you ever tried a case in December? And I've tried several, and some of them are 3 days before Thanksgiving. Some of them have been immediately after Thanksgiving, and it's very tough on everyone. They believe that it would be better for reasons relating to the Rule 26 disclosures that exist, that there be an additional amount of time to have the deadline for the trial in this matter. I don't know that the court will approve that, but to the extent that the parties jointly agree, we are recommending and asking that the city agree with that, and it would be an extension of either 3 months from December of 2026 until March or either April of 2026. And we believe that that would be a reasonable thing to happen, and just wanted to, of course, ask for ultimately the consent, which we can do in a private meeting to obtain that consent. And if there's anyone who has any questions,
Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, what the Senator has indicated is that we've received a request for 6 months extension, and with the Senator and the legal staff for the city are recommending us a 3 or 4 month extension, not a 6 month extension.
Yes. If that's all right with you, then we will proceed with a 3 to 4 month extension.
And this is where the city attorney was going to discuss it at her report at the end to get this simply the consensus of the commission, then we can convey that. So I'll let the
and ultimately, it's up to the court to decide whether, by a joint stipulation, that the court will agree to extend that period of time. But I think the court is more likely to accept a 3 to 4 month extension than 6. And so that's a reasonable time period. Mr. Simmons, if you're available, we have our next meeting on February 23rd, which would give me sufficient time to do a notice for a closed session, and we can schedule it at that time where we can get more into litigation strategy and also have some consensus or questions asked about the case moving forward, if you're agreeable to that, or we can talk about it at another time.
I think that sounds excellent to do that.
Mr. Simmons, is there an expectation that there would actually be a lot of work done in December if it were kept to the current schedule?
Well,
Given the
if
fact
there
that we
is
would have a
a,
3-month delay.
there will be motions for summary judgment that will be filed before the time period that is presently set for the trial. And also having it in December is something that, as a trial date, is not sure to occur, even if the judge presently sets it at that time period. But one thing is, I think for the convenience of the parties and everyone involved, that a trial in December is, if that were the case, is a real imposition on people. But at the same time, I've tried several cases during that time period. I don't really remember the Thanksgiving holidays from those, nor do I remember much about the Christmas holidays either. But that's okay. The other side requests that this happen. They have their reasons that have to do with what are called the Rule 26 disclosures. We've suggested that we would bring it to your attention and ask for the consent for a 3 to 4 month extension. We didn't believe that a 6-month extension would be appropriate.
Okay, and appreciate your letting me ask the naive questions here, but it doesn't put us at any disadvantage to be delaying for 3 months.
I don't see any disadvantage. If anything, it gives us the opportunity to sharpen certain points and be more ready than ever, which we're prepared. Not only that, it gives you the likelihood of a trial certain date. If you think about it, putting everyone in December is like your doctor giving everyone a 10 a.m. appointment, right? And everybody shows up at 10 a.m. thinking they have that slot. Well, the judge has this list of cases that are all set to go around that same time. And as some of those cases, if they do proceed to trial, we wind up getting pushed down and down the list. If you continue it 3 to 4 months, that gives you a more certainty as far as having a trial certain date.
More certainty of a date certain? Okay, thank you.
In terms of information going back and forth and us getting what we're asking from them and them getting what they're asking of us, does that seem to be flowing well?
Yes, it does, and the joint motion makes that representation, excuse me, to the court, that we are cooperating well. The council are. This is the discovery is going well, as the record reflects. We have already filed our expert reports. We have 3 expert witnesses who are retained experts. One of them from Dr. Andy Davis, and also a person in his office who is Mr. Roth, who both of them together have prepared the report that was given timely to the opposing parties on December the 5th. And then we also have, of course, our reports that were done by Corolla, and that's Dr. Erica Stone. And Erica Stone, Dr. Stone has, like I stated, done an excellent report as well. And then we have Robert Morrison, who is a forensic accountant, who takes the numbers as to the quantum of the damages that are requested by the city and actually has brought those down to present value. And so in order to present something of this nature to a jury, we need a present value calculation. And so he has done that present value calculation.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Are we able to get consensus here, or you want to wait until the next meeting when we have
Wait,
that?
is that sufficient Mr. Simmons, if we make the decision or it's discussed further at the February 23rd meeting, or is there a deadline? I'm presuming you want to get this out as soon as possible.
If we could have the consensus, I know that the other side is looking for some indication as to where the city is on this request.
Then definitely, Mayor and members of the commission, you can just give a consensus that you're being agreeable to the joint motion for continuance.
Okay, for 3 to 4 months.
Correct.
Everyone okay with
I'm good
these
with that.
warrants?
I'm not, but I sincerely apologize for my tardiness. I can't vote on something or to give a consensus of what I'm not sure of, but however, we have more than enough people on the board, and I don't want to hold the meeting up to recap everything that was stated.
I didn't know we were discussing this today.
We didn't.
We didn't either.
So we'll do a consensus. Commissioner Britton, what I'll do is, the consensus is stated right now, but I'll have you make a motion, Mayor, at the regular meeting, and I'll answer any questions that you may have at that time, Commissioner Britton, and make sure that you have all information.
Thank you.
Okay?
That works.
All right.
All right, and I'll go ahead and notice the closed session.
All right. Thank you all
Okay.
very, very much.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to meet with you today. Bye.
Do you want to let Dan go next?
I think that'd be fine.
Dan, we're going to have you go next.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Dan Payne, Director of Sanford Main Street Program. Under our agreement with the city, we have to give you an annual report each year about what we've done and brag a little bit. Start off with, first with some of the visitor numbers at the Welcome Center. In 2025, we saw 17,790 visitors come through the Welcome Center. Now, that's down about just a little more than 3,000 visitors, or a 14.8% drop over 2024. I don't have an exact reason for that decline. Most likely, it is multiple reasons. I think the outdoor restrooms take some of the traffic from people coming inside, weather, cold, rain, hot, even the calendar where vacations fall, where holidays fall, things like that. And I do think the economy is playing a little bit into it. I don't know that it's necessarily a big thing to worry about. These things fluctuate up and down, but that is a fairly substantial drop. And we did see one thing that does concern me a little bit is that in our good months, the October through April, we did see some declines in those months. You would expect those to, at worst, be flat if there's issues going on. Now, during the summer, we saw numbers stay steady or even increase slightly from time to time. And I do have a month-to-month breakdown at each one of your positions there. So I'll keep monitoring that, and I was providing monthly reports to the CRA. I can do that for you just in terms of emailing that out to you. If you would like that, I can do that either through the clerk or send it to you individually, however you would like me to do that. We do keep those reports on a monthly basis. Any preference on how you want that data?
In a spreadsheet with some pivot table summaries.
I'm sorry?
And can you just provide the same thing that you were providing to the CRA?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Do you want me to come make a presentation, send it to the clerk, or send it to you individually?
I would say send it to the clerk to have it added to an agenda packet, but I don't think you need to come every month.
Okay. That works for me.
But that's, everybody agree with that?
I agree with that.
Okay.
In terms of Main Street activities, I will say 2025 was a transformative year for us. Things didn't start off quite like we planned. In fact, this weekend is the 1-year anniversary of when Daniel Lewis passed away. He was the president of our board at that point, and kind of threw us in a little bit of a situation there. But Paul Williams from West End Trading Company and Alex Williams, no relation, from Wayne Dench, stepped up into leadership roles and have really added some extra energy to the organization. Main Street America, if you're not aware, has a 4-point approach: organization, promotion, economic vitality, and design. Organization is basically how your organization is structured, how you operate within your district and the stakeholders. Promotion, events, how you promote both digitally and traditional media. Economic vitality is kind of the heart of the matter, what you do to make your district economically vital. And design, what it looks like, how things interact within your district. So organization, we had some big wins. Like I said, we started off a little squirrely there to begin with, but have really kind of hit our stride. We've added some new board members, and we've restructured the board. We're adding 18 members to our board. Right now, we have 12 members.
You're adding 18 in addition to 12?
We're going to get to the number 18 now. I'll touch on that in just a moment, why 18 is significant. In addition to that, we've redone our bylaws to require that each of the board members make a $2,000 contribution to the organization, either write a check, raise money, provide in-kind services, something like that. One of the things we've done in reaching out to new members, new board members, John Gillian, director of the Seminole State Foundation that raises money for the college, Tim Dolan from Waste Pro, Josh Snyder, who served on the CRA, and Tim Dolan also served on the CRA. These guys have a lot of experience working with nonprofits, and their idea is that, hey, if board members aren't willing to buy in, how are we going to sell other people to buy into our organization? So we're asking each board member to contribute $2,000 annually. We've also redone our bylaws, updated them a little bit, and we've actually activated the 4 Main Street committees. Prior to this, we did not have 4 active Main Street committees in each of the pillars that I mentioned before. The other thing that we're doing is creating the 77 Army, and that's where the significance of the 18 board members comes in. Sanford was founded in 1877, so we want 18 full board members, and we want 77 Army members, the 77 Army. What that is, that's a volunteer group that we're going to use as kind of a training ground for members to serve on our committees and eventually serve on our board. We want to kind of get them familiar with the Main Street approach, how we do things, get them involved in the community. Right now, we've got 12 on board so far, and we plan to fill that out by the end of the year. Each of the 77 members will be required to provide at least a minimum of 12 hours volunteer service each year, plus $100 donated to the organization. Now, we'll give them some things like an exclusive T-shirt to wear around town. We'll, of course, honor them at different events, volunteer of the month and volunteer of the year, things like that. So we really want this. Part of the goal of this is not only to build a training ground for future Main Street activities, but also to tie into the community. I mean, we have a very active and passionate community here in Sanford, and we want to kind of tap into that energy because even as a board, even as an executive director, we can't do this without other people's help. Promotion. Promotion is not just advertising, both paid and in-kind. It's events. It's everything that you do to promote your district. And every event that I go to for Florida Main Street, we go to quarterly meetings each quarter, just a little redundant. we hear time and time again, you guys do such a great job with your events. When is your next sofa and such? When's the art festival? When is the Pints and Paws? In fact, we have other members of Florida Main Street coming to our events, traveling from Brooksville, from DeLand, from Tampa. We get a lot of requests for when's the next event coming up. And in fact, Catherine Beck, the director of the Florida Main Street program, has asked us to put on at one of our quarterly meetings a seminar on how to run a proper and successful event. So we're known throughout the state for the good events that we have. In that regard, we've also looked to try to diversify some of our events and create some new Main Street only events, Main Street organized events, I should say. Sizzling Summer, which I think you guys are pretty familiar with, that's a marketing campaign we did this past summer to try to drive more traffic downtown. We intend to do that again this year.
Good job on that, by the way.
Well, thank you. We've got a country music festival coming up called Boots and Roots. That's going to happen over at the Civic Center on March 7th. That's a inaugural event for us there. We did the Sweet Stroll in December, and that's a model I think we want to use for other events, other new events that we create. Basically, you bought a ticket, you got to go around to each of the participating business and pick up a sweet treat. We targeted it to specifically for a Thursday. Weekends are busy. We do a pretty good job on the weekends in terms of driving traffic. Now what we're trying to do is extend the week. Thursday night seems like a fairly easy night to do that. We used to have the old Alive After 5 on Thursday nights, so this is a way that we can get people used to coming back downtown on Thursday nights. It also gets you into the businesses rather than going to a single designated area. Seventh Owl Tea Company, that's in the second floor of the Walt Locker building, they participated. Cokie, the Puerto Rican bakery at the far end of Sanford Avenue, the business district there, they both participated, and they both had a really good feedback about the number of new customers that they saw, or people coming in saying, hey, we weren't aware that you were here, we will be back. So that's one of the things that we really want to try to promote with Main Street. Golf Cart Fest, that is a new event. It is in the very early planning stages. It's something that we want to plan to do in the hot July months. Don't have a ton of details. We're still working a lot of that out. But the best way I can describe it, it's Bike Fest without the bikes and the bikers.
Okay.
So that's the idea behind that. We do have a gentleman that moved into town recently named Matt Walker. He's the owner of Golf Carted Magazine. So he's tied into the golf cart community, not just here in Central Florida, but all over the state and all over the country. And he sees these events popping up in other states, and there's not one in Central Florida. So we're like, why don't we just plant the flag? We already have a excuse me, very active golf carting community anyway. Let's try to highlight that. And then this is also an early event. The Florida Writers Guild has reached out to us about doing some sort of book fair in November, on a Saturday in November. We've got a couple of innovative ideas on how exactly that would work, but we'll keep you updated with that. And certainly Jennifer Brooks and the Special Events Department at the Parks and Rec as we move forward with those. We're also working on a new updated visitor's guide. There was a private company that was putting out a visitor's guide. They're no longer doing a paper copy of that. They're only doing an online version. Working in the Welcome Center, I do see the need for an actual paper hard copy version of that. And we're going to work with the Sanford Herald. Randy Green, the new owner, has committed to doing that. We've already had a couple of meetings and started to make some headway on that, and expect to have a visitor's guide out sometime in August or September. The goal is that this won't be a pay-to-play. Yes, we're going to sell some advertising into it. We need to pay for it. But we're going to put everybody in downtown in this guide. Break them up by food and beverage, retail, services, things like that, so that we promote what we have in downtown.
Mm-hmm.
Third point is economic vitality. This is a brand-new committee for Sanford Main Street, not for Main Street America. And this is one that takes a little traction. Some of the other things we can get started, and you start to see the fruits of your labor pretty quick. This is a long-term goal for this. Chris McLeod, a longtime Sanford resident who served on the Historic Preservation Board as well as the Planning and Zoning Board, is chairing this for us, and he serves on that with Pamela Lynch, part of your Economic Development Department. Pamela also serves as an ex officio member of our board, as does Commissioner Thomas. She's one of our new board members. Happy to have her. So our goal with the Economic Vitality Committee is that we want to assist the city in their economic development efforts as it relates to downtown Sanford. Certainly the city has a lot of juice and the ability to do some things that we don't, but we want to be able to assist however we can. One of the things we're putting together now is develop an inventory of all the downtown properties. That's important when you have a new business come in. You need to be able to say, we have this space available, this is the lease rate for it, this is the owner, this is how you get in contact with them. And Main Street America also has some digital tools that not only help with this, but help you market this to potential business owners or even folks that are looking to purchase properties. So that is something that we hope to get done here in the next few months. And I want to stress that a lot of these 4 points often interact like a Venn diagram. So economic vitality does, as it exists in downtown Sanford right now, does rely on our events. But we want to make sure we're diversifying downtown. We've got a great food and beverage scene, and the people who come to our town love it. But we also want to make sure there's retail shopping, that there's office space, that drives down daytime traffic in downtown, and some residential as well. So we're not just looking at food and beverage, street parties, things like that. We're looking at the whole picture of what a living and breathing downtown looks like. Design committee, when I go to these Florida Main Street quarterlies, it's interesting to hear some of the other Main Street folks talk about the struggles they have with preservation issues, things like that. In this regard, the city of Sanford specifically has done an excellent job in laying that foundation years ago. I think Lon Howe, back in the 80s, was responsible for some of that. But the historic preservation codes, the CRA and the work that they did during their time with streetscapes, things like that, we have the foundation, literally the bricks and mortar foundation of a great Main Street district that a lot of my colleagues throughout the state don't have. They're doing some of the baby steps of figuring out how do we put historic preservation codes into their districts. So the city has done a great job with that. In that regard, Julie Schofield, your historic preservation officer, she serves on our design committee. She's a valued member of that. And Julie is kind of a double whammy on that committee because she also has a lot of experience with Main Street programs. In fact, she helped start the DeLand Main Street. DeLand Main Street is recognized not just in Florida, but throughout the country as one of the better Main Street programs in the U.S. Josh Snyder, a new board member, also a member of the former CRA. He's the chairman on this. And Kim House, who serves on the Public Arts Commission, is also a member of this committee. One of the things that we've tried to do over the last year is figure out, we as an organization can't do everything we want to do by ourselves. We need to partner with the city, whether it's the city commission, the Historic Preservation Office, the Public Arts Commission, the County Tourism Board, other organizations. So it's important for us to try to have all of those folks in the conversation and working with us. It's great for us to come up with an idea, but if we then have to take it to the city and they say, no, that's not going to fly, then we've got to go back to the drawing board. So why not have folks like Julie on board from the start. A couple of things that they're talking about right off the bat is a downtown banner program. I know this has been a passion of Kim House's for some time, and I think we're actually going to make this happen. Excuse me. Also want to work with some wayfinding and signage. Not that the city's done a bad job. Again, we just kind of want to augment some of the things that the city's already put in place. For example, the new outdoor restrooms next door to the Welcome Center. There are 2 small signs on a single pole. The signs are about the size of a sheet of paper. Most people don't understand that those are outdoor restrooms, and they're open later hours on the weekend, which is convenient. One of the things we've talked about doing is how can we put signage there, but do it in such a way that it's artistic. Leaning on Kim House's experience with arts, that is Artisan Square. So rather than just put a basic municipal type sign up that says restrooms or public restrooms, can we do it in a creative way? One of the ways they've talked about, and I'm not sure this is going to fly, is to create a large ceramic toilet and mosaic it with tiles and put plants in it. I don't know that that's going to fly with with the Historic Preservation Board or with the Arts Commission for that matter, but they're thinking of creative ways. How can we creatively address this problem rather than just stick a blue or green sign up? We do have a very quick win. One of the members of our design committee, Kayla Mitchell, works for pedestrian and walkability issues, not just in Sanford, but across Central Florida. And one of the things that she's been trying to get changed for about 4 years is the crosswalks at the intersections that have traffic lights in downtown Sanford. I don't know if you've tried to push the button on the and try to cross at the appropriate time, but the way they were working was if you push the button, you have to wait for that cycle to finish, then you have to wait for the next cycle before it will pop up and give you the walk signal. Well, that doesn't make any sense at all. People just ignore it and they just cross against the light to begin with. So with Julie's help, Julie Schofield's help, and Kayla's advocacy, we've reached out to the county and they have actually reprogrammed the lights so that now when the light turns green, that traffic walk or that crosswalk sign automatically lights up and says to walk. You don't have to push any buttons. The buttons are irrelevant. And I actually this weekend watched several cycles of the lights and watched people actually flowing with the traffic in the proper way. So that's a very early win for us, and was really easy, didn't require any capital expenditures, just required a little programming and some advocacy. In conclusion, 2025 was a great year. I hope you agree. 2026 is going to be an even better year. We've got a lot of things in the work, some stuff I haven't mentioned yet. We're looking forward to building strong partnerships with the City Commission, the staff, and the stakeholders around. One of the things I did not mention is, well, I mentioned it briefly, but I wanted to talk about some of the organizations. For as long as I've been in Sanford, the downtown groups have kind of been at each other's throats at odds. Whether it's the Chamber, the Business Association, the original Main Street, whatever the groups are. We now have a good working relationship with the Chamber. We've started meeting recently with the Goldsboro Main Street to try to ways to where we can partner on events and both help each other out on that. We're doing a fundraiser for Porch Fest that has turned into actually pretty big. Our original idea was we were going to have 4 venues play music and try to raise money. And once we put the Save the Date out there, we had 15 other businesses say, how can I participate in that? So that's coming up on February 28th. We've got 19 venues and I think 60 different musicians or musical acts that are going to be a part of that. So we can't do this alone. We need everybody's help to do this. So we certainly appreciate the support that the City Commission has provided. Just a couple of graphics I wanted to share with you. This is our new logo. You'll see that the clock is set at 9:29. That's significant. Sanford was founded on September 29th. That's a reference to that. And then down in the, towards the bottom, you'll see the 1877 to reference the year there. And you'll also see a little Main Street America lamppost in there as well. So a couple of Easter eggs there. We have started very briefly. The mayor and I were the only ones there at the very first Sanford Main Street Founders Day. We have never celebrated the day that Sanford was incorporated, so we plan to do that. That is another event that we're going to kind of lean into a little more this year. But that was the logo that we came up for that. For the Sweet Stroll logo, Ryan Hanley, one of our board members and a talented IT and graphic artist, he actually was able to, I don't know how, but somehow using AI, automate the inside of that so that they were ice skating on that little pond. There was actually movement in that, and that's what we shared across our digital media assets. I think you saw the logo for the Sizzling Summer. That's something that we can use every year. And then this is the logo and branding for the Boots and Roots. Sanford proud, country loud. Y'all have any questions?
Yep, got a couple.
Okay, Commissioner Britton?
I can go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I just wanted to say I really love the marketing this year. Even when it came to the snow globe, you can actually see the logo underneath the globe. Like, there was so much attention to the detail, and it was beautifully done, even the Sizzling Summer. So to the people on the board and Dan yourself, like, I absolutely loved it. I also love that we're seeing more of the 1877. I think that we need to capitalize on that a little bit more. It's tattooed on my arm. I love that you see that. And then I love the 18 and the 77 that you have with the board members in the 77. My question is for the 77 members, how are we trying to attract people to do that 77? And is that something that we can also plug into the Citizens Academy once they graduate? Is that something that they can be a part of the Main Street? Since they've taken that course, it shows that they have an interest in, you know, being a part of what Sanford has, and also the knowledge of Sanford. What do you think about that?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, Tim Dolan, one of our new board members, recently went through the Citizens Academy, and he recruited a couple of people from his class. And he brought the idea to us, we need to get involved with Citizens Academy, and I've talked with Lisa. So I think it's April 1st is the Wednesday when Economic Development will have their night to talk about
April
that.
Fool's
And I'm
Day,
going to get
Brady.
up for a few minutes, and not long, but just talk about the 77 Army. Clearly, it's a captive audience in the fact that they want to know more about their city and want to be involved enough to give up 10 weeks or 10 Wednesdays to learn about how municipal government works. So that's a rich field. We're also going to start pushing out some things out on social media to recruit folks. And if you know of folks that are looking to volunteer, send them my way. We'll get them signed up. One other thing I didn't mention under the design committee, we did restart the Sanford Sparkling, Keep Sanford Sparkling cleanup. We do that the first Wednesday of every month.
Or Sunday?
We've redone it in honor of Daniel Lewis because he kind of was certainly involved a lot with that, and that was kind of a passion of his. So very cold on the 1st, so we moved it to yesterday. We had about 25 to 30 people come out. Had the same the month before, and we had 65 come out in November when we kicked it off, and the weather was really nice. So we expect as the weather warms up that we'll get more attention there. And in fact, some of the businesses are even jumping in. Wet Spot offered free biscuits and gravy to anybody who participated. Seventh Owl offered hot tea to anybody who participated, and I think Colonial Room offered a free soft drink with a purchase with anybody who participated. So we want to build a few more of those businesses. So we're down foot town anyway. We might as well eat and drink.
Although I really like the idea of being creative with the bathrooms, I just think for as much traffic as we have, that there needs to be a clear, concise signage that says that that there are restrooms available and not something that is left up for interpretation. So that's just my,
No, I agree, that was just kind of the first thing that they threw on the wall to say, maybe we could do. My original idea was maybe some sort of kind of cool mural. I don't know exactly how you would do that, or what it would say or depict, or, I'm not the artistic type.
but to the commission, I really do believe that we need better signage for it to be, I mean, for you to know that it is a restroom. The little ones are just too small, but, you know. I don't think
There's
that's
a big
main-
heart there now.
Yeah,
so.
I love that.
Yeah, and I mean, and it's gotta be done, it's kind of, you gotta thread the needle line. You want something that's tasteful and ultimately it has to get the job done. It has to let people know what it is, so you can't get too creative. And, you know, it's kind of like some of those commercials during the Super Bowl yesterday, like, that's cool, but what are they advertising? So,
Got it.
Hey, shout out to the person who snuck in here, who really has brought his program management and especially fundraising techniques to Main Street, because that whole 1877 idea is a great one. You know, if the 77 even do nothing more than just cheerlead for the city, it's time well spent for them and for us. But fundraising too.
John Gillian was or Gillen was the inspiration for the 77 Army. That's his baby, and that's the advantage of bringing on some new board members. We certainly appreciate our board members that have served in the past, and it was very downtown centric, and we're not going to get away from being downtown centric. That's our mission. But it does help to reach out beyond downtown a little bit to get some fresh eyes and some new perspective and new ideas.
Correct.
And John has certainly brought those in wheelbarrows full, so we appreciate that.
I think we have a good board there now,
And Commissioner Thomas has been
and you can't leave.
a good addition as well. We appreciate her presence. And former Commissioner Patty Mahaney, I failed to mention, she is a full member of our board now too, so. Any other questions?
Questions or comments? I would say, you know, I am, you know, beyond pleased with the change we've seen in the last year. I really like the direction you are headed, and the way you're reaching out and bringing everyone into the fold. So let's make sure we talk about it at budget time rather than at the end of the year, so we make sure that funding for them is fully included in our budget. Okay.
And we'll reach out to you before then too. So.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Dave.
Good work.
Back up to city goals.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Commission. Oftentimes, city commissions have what's called a strategic planning session or a goal-setting session. Sometimes it's even remote, where they go away for a day. What we just wanted to set some time at this meeting is for the City Commission to discuss among itself goals it may have for the 2026 year for the City Commission. Elizabeth Jones has put together a strategic plan, and if it pleases the commission, we could see if she would, well, I know she would facilitate it, but it would be time simply for the commission to talk among yourselves about what you would like to see the commission accomplish for 2026.
Hello, Mayor and members of the Commission. I'm here if you have any questions. As a brief reminder, as Mr. Bonaparte also noted, we do have our updated strategic plan, which has 5 core priorities that were set out for this year and for the next 5 years to follow. I do believe a lot of the goals that you all outlined with Mr. Bonaparte over the recent months do align with most of those core priorities. So.
Well, you know, and I started trying to think outside of the things we've already listed, you know, for the city manager. And even when I put that together, I was like, you know, some of these are, you know, they're really, you know, joint goals anyway. so, obviously we would incorporate all those. Things beyond that, though, what do we want to set as a goal for us? Any thoughts?
I'm confused at what you're actually asking. You're saying, what are you
Beyond-
asking of us right now?
Sort of a brainstorming
Okay.
of what things do we want as a commission to accomplish or for the city to accomplish because of us?
Are we talking about having an additional work session on that, or like we did before in 2025 where we met here, or we're saying right now, what are the goals for the commission?
Right now is an opportunity to share ideas. If we want to have a standalone session, we can certainly plan that.
One of my thoughts is a realistic goal when it comes to energy efficient vehicles, maybe a transition from gas to hybrid to electric on a schedule. I think we have some, I know the chief has some hybrid vehicles now, and I think we have them scattered throughout, but I would love to see us have some strategic goals that say we will reach this percentage of hybrids and this percentage of electric within, say, 3 to 5 years, something like that.
Well, that ties into what I had brought up about putting solar on,
Yes.
either floating solar or Commissioner Austin's suggestion for solar on covered parking.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe an sort of an energy efficiency
Citywide.
goal.
Mm-hmm.
And that does align with preparing for future sustainability, which, again, is one of the priorities that was set out for the next 5 years of the city.
Yeah. So at a high level, energy efficiency throughout the city, and then levels below that having to do with the solar, the vehicles, buildings.
I love Claudia's idea of thinking forward. That is something that would have to happen over, a couple of years. Something for 2026 that we were talking about in one of the meetings is how we market Sanford, which that's why we're working with Main Street on that. But even stuff like our Civic Center. How do we get people to have conferences here? What do we have to invite people to Sanford? And I know that we're government, so we're not supposed to, list all of those things, but I don't see how we really market like our golf course, our true amenities that we have here. I love that on the Main Street logo, I was able to see the waterfront. I don't think that we showcase that we have the waterfront. We oftentimes say that we're hip and historic, and we have historic districts, and we have our economic engines, but we don't actually showcase like our waterfront. So, how can we tell the story of Sanford and its amenities as well? Outside of like the small circle of people, how many people really know about what a beautiful job the city has done with our new golf course and, the amenities that we have, our parks, and how you could use our Civic Center. We show a picture of what it looks like, but maybe hire someone that shows how that building can be split up more than just a wedding, but to encourage people to have conferences, to encourage people to eat, mingle, shop, so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. But I know that's not technically like a government thing, but because these are City of Sanford amenities that taxpayers pay for and that we're responsible for, maybe we can market that a little bit better.
Commissioner Burton and all commissioners, Lisa Holt actually is in that process right now of getting someone to photograph and do video of the Civic Center, the Betty Smith facility, the Riverwalk, all of the amenities that we market and rent. Because if you go to the website, it says it, but you don't see it.
Right.
So we're going to get video so that you can link on that, and then you get a video tour of that facility.
Okay, love it.
Video is worth 1,000 words. And yeah, the properties that we maintain as a city, then we should be making sure that we are pitching and promoting. And it would be a measurable goal where we can start to get some metrics back that say, we're getting more eyes on these things and tracking where the visitors are coming from, or on the websites or on the videos.
Yeah, I think we've been hit or miss on that over the years, and to, focus on a concerted effort to bring that together is a good idea.
I think it's been more miss.
Well, there've been some hits.
I talked about this in 2016 when I first
Like
got
I said,
elected.
hits and
Oh,
misses.
well, here we are 10 years later, so it's time to do it better.
Yeah.
And in conjunction with that, of course, is the goal of really pushing hard for our marina to finally get done. So we have something to promote that says, here are all of the slips for your boats.
Again, working with Main Street, we're trying to help with our businesses and the, nonprofit and for-profit organizations when it comes to events. But I don't think the commission has actually had that meeting to talk about how we're going to or not support the events. Being that the CRA has sunset, those dollars are now, gone away. Now, we're supposed to get some funding back, but I don't think we've had that conversation amongst ourselves of, what the criteria may be, this being the first year without the CRA. And yes, we all have that, contingency commission fund, but if we're going to say no, the city commission will not be, supporting those things because we have to give it to everybody. Like, have we had that conversation yet for our events?
I feel like we've had that conversation many times and not come to a final decision. Or come to a final decision many times that changes the next time we have the conversation. So yes, that would be,
So the goal here is to have a financial plan in place to replace what the CRA was doing for us. Does that mean requesting new grants, or?
Well,
That's more the how-to, though, rather than just let's set the goal.
the one thing we have never, made a final decision on is what are the events we want to help support? What events are we claiming is our premier events? And what are we going to do to A, help them, and B, keep them? And so those are some discussions that we've either been afraid to have or we keep skirting around.
That's the word.
or we disagree on.
Yeah.
And then somebody comes and asks if somebody will give some money to their event, and somebody does.
Well, but amongst each individual up here, we all have our own passions
Right.
and ideas of where those funds may be spent. But we are talking about the actual dollars that the CRA was putting into some of these events, and if we're going to continue to do that, and to what level. That is the conversation that is even more important than deciding what each individual commissioner may or may not want to support.
That's kind of what I just said, but, okay.
And the flip side of that is how we manage events and cost of events, which there has been a start of a conversation on. And we just need to bring that to the commission and expand on that. How do we keep the costs down where possible?
Mayor, just to verify, so when you say how we manage events, are you looking for the commission to set out the financial aspect of what they're looking to contribute towards, or how staff would be assisting and handling?
I think it's both. Is the city going to contribute funds towards events sponsored by nonprofits? And can we take a look at, the requirements for doing events that have some cost. And I know that we have looked at that repeatedly, but I think with the barriers that we now have, there's an opportunity for some cost reduction. And there were some other ideas that were brought forward. I think with that conversation needs to come to the commission.
And Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, would you like to have a work session? I've heard two things. One is to look at those events that the CRA had sponsored and decide on whether the commission wants to continue sponsoring them or others.
I think it's important to make sure this is noted. The CRA only gave them what the city was charging them. And so so there's two aspects here. Do we, A, start a program of forgiving cost or absorbing cost, or do we, B, start a program of sponsoring to pay for our own costs? That seems redundant.
Yeah.
So why don't we just start a program where we say, there's an application, the city may or may not agree to refund part or all of the city costs.
But the thing is, the costs are coming out of department budgets, and so that needs to be backfilled. So however we do
I'm not
that,
oblivious to that.
Right,
Just,
but we don't have to write a check to ourselves to
Right.
do that. It can be an accounting kind of thing.
Right.
But we need to make sure the departments, because that's what,
we need to make
That's
Ms.
what used
Lindsay's
to happen
life
is-
more difficult.
Well, no, in the past, years ago, that's what would happen, is the commission would say, oh, we'll waive the fees, and every department had to pick up whatever that cost happened to be.
Okay. Well, we'll just take it all out of Public Works.
Sounds
Well,
good.
do you want to have a work session where the commission discusses
Oh,
what
Brent's here.
events?
Heard it all.
But also criteria, because Patrick did say something that was important. We all have our own personal events that we support and things that we champion. I think that we should set some criteria, so then it's not just, well, Commissioner Britton wants to support, this event. No, it is this criteria, kind of like what the CRA did, how many, people are coming to the event, how many people are supporting local, how many times can you come before the CRA before they, decrease the funding. Maybe we could just piggyback on what the CRA did and keep it, simple. But we could get into a lot of unfair things if we all say, well, we have our individual things that we think should be, covered by the city. And I really like the idea of the covering the city costs.
What I'm hearing you say is that the commission can establish a criteria,
Yes, sir.
so that when something comes before you, you go against what the criteria the commission has set. So we could have a work session on discussion and the commission coming up on the criteria.
And when we have the work session, you have all the different events they sponsored, so we'll be able to see all the ones that they were sponsoring.
We can have a list of the CRA-sponsored events that they did in the past, yes.
Yeah.
It would be interesting to see what other cities are doing that are in the same boat, because it's not just us losing CRA funding. Maybe some best practices could. I might mention that at the next CalNo.
So I will say, as well, when it comes to setting commission goals, you all have already outlined Mr. Bonaparte's goals for the upcoming year. Something to keep in mind is typically commission goals are set obviously by the commission, and then the city manager's goals act almost in support of those, which is where the overseeing of the staff and those items come into play. So you all have outlined a nice overarching view of where the city's moving with our vision. So these also work in partnership with it, but I just wanted to kind of mention that in going forward as you create any other goals for yourselves, that they do work in harmony.
Any other thoughts or ideas at this time?
Commissioner Britton did raise the question, does the commission want to have another separate session as you did last year?
I am willing to really nail this down and make it complete with a nothing but that session.
Sounds good to me. I think the last one was really productive. I think we all had a lot of things, and it was easier to have those conversations on smaller items, not our big infrastructure issues that we know that we talk about all the time, and development and stuff that comes before the commission, but those more tangible, smaller ideas. Or
Yeah.
to clean house a little bit.
And do the work session with maybe multiple whiteboards where we can put little dots next to the items that we all like or don't.
Yeah, the idea is that while the commission meets every other month, normally you're just acting on resolutions or ordinances.
Mm-hmm.
The idea is to have a session for the commission to talk among yourselves on what is it you would like to see accomplished.
Yeah. I can make myself available.
Okay,
And we're still
last
going to be
time,
talking about the goals that we kind of started coming up with during our last, where you translated 25 goals to 26 goals, and maybe as a starting point. Yeah,
For the, yeah,
what you've got there.
which the next step is the city manager is going to give us his timeline on those, and then we'll stamp them.
Mhm.
So last time we ended up on a Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
is that right?
That's, yeah, Saturday, I think, was midday, Saturday.
is that what the rest of y'all want to do?
Yeah.
You've heard from two.
Again, I think it was one of our more productive meetings.
Mm-hmm.
I only rolled my eyes at Patrick one time.
That's pretty good.
You had sunglasses on.
Okay, so do we want to try to pick a date now? The 14th?
As in
What?
Valentine's Day? I don't think so.
You're so funny.
21st?
Baseball opening day. 28th?
Can't do it.
I'm available March 7th.
7th, I'm at Robotic States. I'd rather be here. March 14th.
Yeah, we don't want to push it too far out. That means moving to a Friday, maybe.
Okay.
Is Friday bad for you, Patrick? Yeah.
I mean, during the workday is bad for two of us.
Oh, that job you have doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Mm.
Evening?
Is there a month coming up where we don't have, 2 meetings?
Not until,
Is that July?
May,
for May?
Memorial Day.
So
But
not,
March has 5 Mondays.
not February 21st?
March has 5 Mondays?
Yeah.
Well, how about an extra Monday?
30th?
Okay,
That works
I'm
for me.
available.
Can do that.
Starting at,
Midnight.
okay, and then go all day?
Ending at midnight.
Okay. 4 p.m. work session time?
Yeah, I mean, since it's not necessarily like a work session that's like noticed out there, could we push it till when everybody gets off?
Yeah.
So like, 5, 6
5
o'clock?
to whatever.
I mean, we have to be here at 4 and everybody makes accommodations because that's our regular meeting
All right,
time.
well, that's why I started at 4.
But we don't have to.
So this one
Okay,
can
right,
start
so-
later.
Yeah.
5.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah, at 5 would be better.
Okay.
5 to midnight.
That's a
Well,
conflict, Patrick?
Well, I don't know. We're starting at 5 on a work day. We're gonna be here till midnight.
I was kidding. 5 until we're no longer productive.
That only gives us maybe 3 hours to work, till 8 maybe, 9, 4 hours.
We can come earlier. I was just saying,
Yeah.
you know, if we had the opportunity to come in a little bit later. I'm not a teacher, but you know.
You know they don't teach all day, come on.
Also, Mayor and Commissioners, you also have the option not just having one session. Sometimes it's good to have a session and then we get a break from it and then come back and rethink things.
Oh no, we drag stuff way too long. Let's hit it. Let's set some. No.
Well, we're not starting from the ground up this time, right?
Right.
Hope not.
Correct. So February 21st is not an option.
I will be out of town.
No.
Okay, just
And that's also baseball opening
couldn't
day.
hear it. Yeah, but that's only till 11.
Yeah.
We ain't thought about that.
I don't have anything on the 28th.
Can't do it.
Okay.
28th is interfaith iftar. But we could do it before that, but he can't do it.
We do when?
So that gets us back to March 14th when we said, oh, that's pushing it out too far, but then we went to March 30th.
And
know, right?
7th is out too, right? You said
7th is out.
Can you do the 14th?
I can do the 14th.
Fair, 14th?
Let's,
I will be in Alabama.
On the 14th?
14th?
on purpose?
Yeah, Saturday. I'm going to be assistant coaching in
Had to ask.
Alabama.
What's in Alabama?
Nothing.
They play golf in Alabama?
I know.
Wait, this story's getting more
In
unbelievable.
Mobile.
This is getting more unbelievable.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, which gets us to March 28th.
I'm available.
Which is only 2 days before the 30th.
And I will be watching my future national champion Arizona Wildcats in the Sweet 16 that weekend.
But they won't be playing in the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true, we could do it in the morning. And then I'll go
Because
celebrate.
that was the problem on the 21st, is I'm going to the games.
All right,
We're going to Tampa for the first round.
We're rooting for each other's teams until we play each other.
So tentatively, the 28th.
okay.
But,
7 a.m., Carrie's cooking breakfast?
Now that's a picnic project, feeding us.
28th.
Yeah, but we're getting close to, and we've got some more things to do. So,
So 28th, what we looking at? What time?
10,
9,
9?
8, 7.
8 or 9?
I get ordered at 6:30, so.
8 or 9.
9?
All right.
Okay.
9 to whatever.
All right, then we need to move on, because if we want to have time for dinner before the quilt thing starts.
Yeah.
So that gets us to disposition of downtown property.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Commission, the city has been having discussions with the county regarding the 3 county properties that are downtown that they will be vacating. And with that, I'd like to have Mr. Lassard come up and share with you the current status of that. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So you'll be switching the slides for me now? Sure. Okay, great, thanks. Mayor, Commissioners, Brady Lassard, City of Sanford Economic Development Department. The city manager and I have been having an ongoing conversation with county staff that we thought it was an appropriate junction to give you all an update. Very important conversation that's been going on. One that really began as I came on here. I remember the first or second day that I was here, we were touring the courthouse, if I'm not mistaken. So happy to be here. Really, the purpose today is to give you an update, but also kind of get your guidance, because this is a conversation where time has become of the essence. So the county has been a tremendous partner, and I do want to start with that. I've been working directly with Darren Gray, Christian Svensson in his office, and the Sheriff's Department in particular, as we kind of tour and look at the courthouse and how it fits into the city of Sanford and the county's plans moving forward. So I've casually updated a number of you throughout this process, but it, again, is kind of a good junction for catching you up on where we are and see where you would like to go. So we can get the slide, Adam. Okay, so the history of this. Let's talk about Seminole County. Seminole County was founded in 1913, and really since the county's inception, downtown Sanford has been the geographic area of the county that's housed primarily all government functions. We currently have the County Administration Building, which you all are very familiar with, the Civil Courthouse. We no longer have a criminal component here in downtown Sanford, the Planning and Engineering and Parks Department, and I know Mayor Woodruff will remember this, let's not forget Seminole County School Board was located in downtown Sanford, and I say downtown, over towards our Sanford Memorial Baseball Stadium.
And the jail.
That is correct, and the jail, which harken back to those days. So the mayor is advocating for bringing more criminals downtown.
That's what I heard.
So the economic impact of that over the years, and you think about it, 1913, smaller government footprint back then, obviously, but the economic impact of that is clearly a double-edged sword, right? So what it has over the years done is stifle some of the private development that would be on some of these key parcels. If we all had a nickel for every time somebody said, oh my gosh, why would the county admin building be where it is? Or why is the courthouse where it is? Or City Hall where it is? So it's stifled that in a sense, but the other side of the sword is it's been a massive, massive employer base that are customers that eat at the Colonial Room on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and shop downtown. So over the years, it again has been that double-edged sword. About 20 years ago, maybe a little more than that, the county started discussing moving the courthouse. That was the first step of what I would call their transport of all operations out of downtown Sanford. So 20 or so years ago, this community had a discussion, and it was not a heated discussion. It was just a matter-of-fact discussion of the county wants a new courthouse. The county is going to have a new courthouse. Are they going to build that courthouse in downtown Sanford or find an alternative site? So with that, I will fast forward to the 5 points consolidation that Seminole County is clearly embarked on. And it will house everything from the clerk to all of those court functions, all of that county admin operations, the civil and the criminal courts. Parks and Rec actually will not be at 5 points. I'll get to that a little bit later. But what that theoretically will do for our downtown is something that we need to be proactive about. This is something I really wanted to focus on, and the city manager has been very supportive of this, of really us taking a look at the impact that will occur. So let's not forget, I just mentioned, criminal courts are out of downtown Sanford. Criminal courts require what? Juries, right? So as we go through this presentation, I want to kind of paint the picture of where we were, where we are currently, and where we will be in the future. So the inventory is what we're going to get to next. There's 3 primary properties, and with that, we'll jump right into it. Okay, so the Seminole County Administration Building. Again, most of you on this dais realize that was a former hospital. Built in 1968.
I was born there.
Born there.
Okay, here we go. All right. Built in 1968. So you think about that. Think Lyndon Baines Johnson, I think in 68, right? Modernist construction. Interesting building. But again, it houses the vast majority of county administration, permitting, things of that nature. So it really is a draw for our county. Now remember, we're on the northern end of the county, so you can't begrudge the county for wanting to move their operations a little more central. Altamont Springs in 1913 didn't have a whole lot of population, right? So the county's reacting to the needs of their constituency. Next slide, please, Adam. So the interesting thing about that building is it's a massive complex. You take a look at it from the aerial there, and there's actually just north off of this aerial, the county actually owns a parking lot towards the lake, so directly across the street from the front entrance. So the scale of the property is massive. This is adjacent to the Mayfair community and the Georgetown community, Georgetown to the south, Mayfair to your east. So it really, depending on how that redevelops or is repurposed, could massively change the complexion of that neighborhood. So it's something we need to be extremely cognizant of moving forward. To the south of the county, you see a couple red squares. There's actually a couple more orphan pieces, I'll call them, that the county owns. So across the street, there's a parking lot that primarily property appraiser staff uses. There's a purchasing building. There's SGTV. So there's quite a bit of property over there that will no longer be needed by county administration functions. Taking a look at this building, and I try to do as much as I can with city operations without expending dollars, hard dollars. I will share with you that throughout this process, city managers encouraged me to use some of the contacts, former colleagues that I have in the commercial space, the site selection space. If you were to put this on the market today, most likely use that someone would want to come and use this for is an assisted living facility. They're being converted all over the country, former hospitals into ALFs, right? The reason I bring that up is I know that many years ago, prior to me being in this current role, there was a discussion about our assisted living facilities, what we are aiming for in downtown Sanford. Above my pay grade to make that decision, but I will tell you, if that building were to be repurposed, that's your most likely use. So it's just something to be cognizant of moving forward. And Mayor, slow me down if you want. I know you've got some time to make up for the event this evening. Next building.
Actually, before you move on from
Yes.
that, I was just reading about, speaking of assisted living, in Phoenix, Arizona, there is a place where they are combining assisted living with education for
Yes.
senior citizens. And I think that's something that would be wonderful for us to have here, because we know how things are changing, where you don't just retire and then that's it.
Absolutely.
You go to school when you're young and that's it.
Absolutely, and Commissioner, I know we're kindred spirits in that regard of
We can talk
keeping
more about
a
that.
finger to the pulse of the markets out there. Here's another odd situation that I say odd, but really adaptive reuse. You're seeing ALF brought in with daycares, and these multi-generational type uses. There's interaction in a supervised capacity. So yes, absolutely, that's an opportunity.
Brady, one more
Yes,
question, before we get too far into this, and then hopefully it'll help change my mindset on stuff. Because this question has never really truly been answered. What is the city of Sanford's buy into this? Are we trying to acquire the property? Are we trying to give Seminole County what our feedback, like, help me understand that portion.
So the purpose, and great question, Commissioner, the purpose today is to update you on where the conversation is. And with Mr. Bonaparte's direction, we've been a little bit coy on that, as the county has, but the partnership, their willingness to sit down and defer to this conversation. So today, I want to explain what's going to be available, what it's currently being used at, and what we think market absorption on the private sector would be for you all to make the decision.
Okay.
And we do get to that towards the end.
Okay.
Yeah, Commissioner, and to the whole commission, I'd like to say that the county manager was directed by the chair of the county board of commissioner at the time to get with me to say, what would the city like? They're leaving, and they want to get a sense of, if they have some input from the city, what would we like for those buildings, since it's in downtown Sanford?
And in fairness, that the county administration building, the former hospital, that's probably the least time sensitive. From a planning perspective, it requires the most thought on our part, but they probably won't be vacating that until late 27, early 28. That'll be the last operation that's moved out of town, and it may even be later. For many, many years, people have been saying the courthouse is leaving next year, and that was 10 years ago, I believe, that conversation started. So we need to be cognizant of that as well. Seminole County Parks Planning and Engineering. This is a beautiful building. This is on the northeastern intersection of First and Park, right across from the Wells Fargo building we're all hoping will someday come into use. Built in 1922. I'm not sure what I would, probably Art Deco, maybe Neo-Gothic construction and architecture, but I will share with you this. It is beautifully maintained by the county. The county has been a phenomenal steward of this property. I've been in and out of it, both in the private sector and as part of this exercise. Electrical is all in conduit. The roof's been kept well. So things that would bore folks probably on this panel are very impressive how the county's taken care of that. So I do want to give them a hat tip on that. This will be the first building that's vacant. They are already in the process of moving out to the WB Ball property. For anyone that hasn't heard, the Seminole County Commission purchased a former equestrian center just north of Sylvan Lake Soccer Complex. Well, in that acquisition, they acquired a very large, very fancy horse stable. That's the accurate statement. They are actually converting that into office space that their park folks will be occupying, and they're in the process of moving now. So this will be the first one that I would say is vacant and ready for consideration.
Brady, do you know what the market value on that one is?
So it's interesting you ask. This would be, of the properties we're going to talk about today, the one that is most likely absorbed by the private sector. If we were to put this on the market, I will share with you this, I believe it was assessed at $1.4 million. I would give it a market value significantly higher than that, probably in the high twos, low threes. But remember, as we talk about the assessments, that last slide, they have the former hospital assessed at $21 million. That's laughably high, but in David Johnson's defense, there's been no real importance to what that assessment is, because remember, they're ad valorem exempt. So there's no taxes being paid on those, so there hasn't been as much need for them to put an actual hard value on it. So I will share with you this, and most of you will probably remember this. Years ago, probably just as Mr. Bonaparte was coming on board, this was discussed as a potential alternative city hall site off and on. There was conversations about, hey, why is City Hall on the lakefront? Perhaps we should put that into the private sector's hands, move our operations there. Obviously, that decision was never moved on, but you talk about repurposing this. Think Foxtails, for instance. So this is about a 20,000 square foot building. Foxtails is about a 14,000 square foot building. Downstairs retail, upstairs could be residential or office, but a very easily consumed property. Next slide, please, Adam. Thank you. Now, here's another interesting thing that you need to take note of as we look at this building. We're always talking about parking downtown. So you'll see just to the north, there's two big squares there. That's right along Hood. Those two parking lots, think right behind Breezeway. These are parking lots that are currently flagged as county parking only. Again, the county's been a very good partner. They've not gotten into the extremely aggressive enforcement of it. It's just, they've got it flagged. They'd like their trucks to be able to park there, but they haven't gotten into an aggressive move of towing or things of that nature. But understand this, those parcels will come offline as part of the conveyance of this property, wherever it goes. The only reason I have the box across the street, so to the west of the building, the subject building is listed as number 4. That's a city parking lot. This is our main intersection in downtown, so the concentration of parking that currently exists needs to be part of the equation of what hands we see that go into. Very attractive repurposed building, and again, I cannot stress enough how well the county has maintained it. And then next, I mentioned the parking. If you'll go back, Adam, I'm sorry. So the next site that we're going to look at is the courthouse. But again, back to these two parking lots that are directly north of our subject site. That's directly south of the courthouse, so it really ties into the courthouse. Then we can go to the courthouse. Thanks. So Seminole County Courthouse. Now, if there's a building that is bad-mouthed more than this in the city of Sanford, I hesitate to venture a guess which it is. So built 1973, so you've got Richard Nixon, right? He's president at the time. I would call this, and Julie Schofield, I didn't see here, so maybe I can act like I'm an architect. This is more of like a brutalist, and this is part of what it's gotten a bad rap on. But I know this commission's committed to sustainability and resiliency and things of that nature. For many, many years, the conversation has been, somebody needs to tear this down and build a hotel. Tear this down and build a hotel. I will share with you, this means of construction is extremely expensive to demolish. That thing is brutal, like a bomb shelter. So if you walk up close, there's a lot of poured concrete, very, very expensive property to tear down. But let's go back to the current capacity. It's being used to about 30% of its original design. Again, We wonder why we don't have people eating lunch on Mondays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Folks, we had 10 juries a week walking in and out of there with deputies escorting them down to our restaurants to eat lunch. So you've got a jury, 14 when you count the two backups, plus the deputies eating downtown. You start doing the math on that, it's a tremendous void. Again, years ago, Sanford made a deal with the devil to base government primary operations down here. Worked very well for us for 50 years. Government is moving out of downtown. So we've got to find a place to replace that traffic. To me, it's probably the most exciting from a repurpose perspective. The hospital, it's limited. It's ALF, it's something creative, but probably related to ALF. This is a pretty interesting operation to look at. So next slide, please, Adam. Okay, the other interesting thing here is, and this whole conversation is, yes, Seminole County owns all the properties that we just discussed, the 3 properties, but without the city's cooperation, they're really hampered. You look at our subject site, so right above where it says private, that's the courthouse, the aerial of the courthouse. You can see how much parking they actually have, because Block 1 belongs to the city. So without the city, there's not been any parking for the courthouse effectively for many years. The limited parking that the courthouse does have directly south of the courthouse was primarily for judges and their armed escorts in and out of the building, was the parking there. So the city's in a unique position with the county to say, hey, you could take this to market without us, or we could potentially massage a deal together to facilitate a proper reuse of the site as a team. For perspective, and again, for 10 years, and the mayor may correct me here, but I'm not exaggerating, for 10 years, they're going to move out next year, they're going to move out
I think
next
it's been
year.
longer than 10 years.
Yeah, it's probably been
closer to
15.
20.
Yeah, 15 or 20 years. But I will share with you this, and I think the city manager and I have heard it loud and clear at our meetings. They will be gone at the end of 27, closer to the end of 26. We are going to have a little bit of a spike on daily traffic downtown, because as they do some renovations and expansion at 5 Points, they're going to have to move some traffic court folks down here. So we'll see a little bit of a spike, but they will be gone. If you talk to the judges in our civil division, they want to get out to the beautiful Federalist new construction, your own closets and all these kind of things that those amenities provide. That's really, I mentioned that this is one of the more exciting potential repurposes. I see John in the audience, so John, don't go back and tell Georgia this, but we have talked about things that are very creative that I've seen across the state and across the country. Repurposing courthouses is happening all over, as colleges, things, smaller corporate footprints. Say a Deloitte wants an executive type footprint. I shouldn't say Deloitte by name, but a company like that needs additional footprints.
ALF/college.
Pardon?
ALF/college.
ALF/college/ childcare center, right? But
You voting for John?
yeah, right. But a tech headquarters, I can't tell you how many startup tech companies are quirky enough and well capitalized enough to repurpose a building like this. So those are kind of the conversations, to your point, Commissioner Britton, which gets us to the end here of where we are in the conversation and where we're hoping to get some feedback from you all as we move forward. Yes, Commissioner Austin.
Is the gaming center no longer a conversation?
If we're speaking of the property there on Magnolia Square?
No, they were talking about taking over
Oh.
the courthouse.
No, not the courthouse.
Okay.
That's a property east of there.
No, that's fine. Originally, we were talking about the courthouse.
Right. Now they're looking at the one east of there.
Okay.
Question for you, Brady.
Yes, ma'am.
You had spoke about the hospital, and I'm pretty sure that, like, let me clear this up. You said that the courthouse is more expensive to demolish because
Correct.
it's a sound structure. Where the hospital, I've heard, needs some work, it might not be, as appealing to try to rehab. Or is the court, would the courthouse, if we did some interior stuff, would it be a easier sell on that one? I guess what I'm trying to ask is it an easy revamp on the inside versus like the hospital can only be used for some things? Would someone be able to come into the courthouse and make it work for whatever they're trying to put in? Is it a better?
So significantly easier to retrofit and repurpose the courthouse, and here's why. The hospital is truly set up as a hospital healthcare. I mean, our DMV is the former morgue, right? So
And it's old.
it's very old.
appropriate.
Very old.
The courthouse in particular is the one that would probably require the most examination, I guess. But the bones are incredibly strong. We've looked at we're not able to see the actual construction plans yet because of concerns with 9/11 and security. They still do have judges and operations in there. But on site visits that we've taken at no cost, we think it could be repurposed.
Okay.
But, and I know, Mayor, you're in a hurry here. Okay, so some timelines and recommendations. So the Seminole County Commission is actually, the Board of County Commissioners is having a retreat, I believe, City Manager, you and I said March 14th, middle of March. They're not saying, hey, Sanford, send us a PSA, a purchase sales agreement, let's do a deal. But what they are looking for is some direction from us, because the clock has started to tick for them. I mean, it's starting to become real that their planning and engineering folks will be out of here in the next 6 to 8 months. They will effectively have vacated that corner. The courthouse in the next year and a half. The county building significantly longer, but they're looking for, I would say, and City Manager, if I'm not verbalizing this correctly, let me know, some sort of direction with a conclusion to said direction and conversation going into that retreat and in the coming months.
And getting a sense from what the city of Sanford would prefer for their properties.
Correct.
That's when? What?
March 14th, I believe, Commissioner?
And these are definitely all their properties,
Correct.
100%.
These are all their properties. And let me share with you again, just for food for thought. So Seminole County disposition of properties, if they were to, take them right to market, they hire a broker and put them on the market, they will be hampered by the fact that the private sector wants to buy now, right? They can't really sell the county admin building until we maybe move out in 3 or 4 years. They could sell the courthouse, and they could certainly sell that planning and engineering building when it's vacated. But that would be one way for them to dispose of it, is put it on the market and let the private sector speak. My concerns on that front would be there are folks in the capital world that would come in and just land bank it. Hey, I'm going to buy a courthouse, and if I keep it empty for a while, when you start running into that.
Right.
Planning and engineering building, I wouldn't be as concerned with them keeping that vacant, because the absorption rate for that would be very rapid, and it's a pretty quick renovation. So that's one of the ways that they could dispose of their property. They could also repurpose it as a government use. I don't think that will be the case, but what becomes a concern is if they think that may be a route they take, and then it's absorbed by the not-for-profit market, and we just have a continual cycle of an undercapitalized group in there not using it to its full potential. So that would be a concern. What I think we all would like to see is for these to be back on the tax rolls, but significantly reactivated with bodies and dollars and shoppers and folks that want to live downtown.
Right.
City of Sanford assessment vehicles. If the city commission decides that this is a conversation we want to explore with the county, I would strongly recommend that maybe we do, and city manager and I have talked about this, that we do spend a little bit of money. It would be interesting to get one of our contract vendors to go in there and scan it. Nowadays, you can put a scanner in a building and really have the floor plans and things that Commissioner Britton was talking about earlier. With the county courthouse, I think that would probably be the one I would strongly recommend. The other, obviously, we would want to do some due diligence, but the hospital and the planning and engineering building, I think, personally speaking, I have a relative comfort level on the physical condition of those properties. How the city would move ahead if the commission, and when I say commission, the commissions, Seminole County Commission and the Sanford City Commission wanted to explore something, the flexibility of an interlocal agreement. This is not a adversarial buyer-seller, conversation that would be occurring. It would be really from a team perspective of solving those. I will say this, Seminole County wants to see those properties back on the tax roll, revitalized, and really contributing to, because that's another thing we always forget. These properties would be contributing to their tax base, right?
Yeah.
So all three of these, well, two of the three anyway, are located in the previous CRA. So bringing them online for the county would be a huge, huge step forward for them. And then if the city were to take on the work of doing this, City of Sanford's disposition strategy. My goal would be, if we were to negotiate a amenable agreement with the Seminole County Commission, I would want to have those properties probably sold before we ever own them, if that makes sense. Because again, we'd be working with an ally, Seminole County, in gaining control of those properties. Yes, we would have to invest some soft cost to better understand those properties and market those properties, but that would be my goal for it. City manager has not identified any city need for those properties for city functions. I think with the recent renovations here at City Hall, he and his staff are pretty comfortable that our administration needs are served. But with that, I would just, next slide, Adam, I think is any questions, direction that you would like to give? I know, Mayor, you've been privy to a little bit of this, so you may be.
And as we talked before, I think the engineering building there on First Street makes sense to get on the private market. I would like to somehow keep some of the parking.
So, and this is how the sausage is made. So if I'm Seminole County and I want to sell that building, wait a minute, Mayor, you want some of our parking, which would enrich the value of our building, and that's why I stay awake at night thinking about real estate. I love real estate. And I think when you start looking at these three properties, things like that come to mind immediately. How do we keep that parking in there? Now, if I'm Seminole County and I'm looking at the courthouse, wait a minute. My courthouse is worthless without the
our
city's
parking.
cooperation on the parking. So there seems to me, and this is it, Mr. Bonaparte and I have had a number of conversations, some of which have gotten to the technical level, seems to be there's a rational path for both parties to end up whole. In this case, Seminole County does want to be made whole.
Mm-hmm.
They've got some construction shortfalls that they would like to make up with whatever type of agreement we come to. But in real estate, you get price or terms, and in this case, it's a rare occasion where I think the city of Sanford can get both.
Not that we have any money, but would it be maybe an investment for us to land bank the engineering building? Number one, we could use the parking, and then it could turn around to where we get a big return on that one. I know you talked about you wouldn't want anybody land banking at the courthouse, but if we're thinking about like how many people, visit and shop, the people at the engineering building aren't the people that are actually, they bring their lunch from home and so on and so forth. So we're not really missing anything right there. Being that you love real estate, would it be an investment for the city to acquire that property? Hold on to it for a minute?
So I would be very cautious from my current position and my boss sitting across from me to recommend any speculative real estate move. I will say this, that when you take the conglomeration of those three properties in downtown Sanford, it's the most significant impact to downtown Sanford that has happened in decades. And if not handled with care, but to your point, and the mayor's point, I think probably everyone on the commission would agree, the planning and engineering building at the corner of First and Park Avenue could be monetized very rapidly. In other words, could be sold into the market. And remember, if we in any way, shape, or form controlled part of that conversation and zoning and planning and engineering, our folks, Eileen's team, we could guide that. They would be subject to downstairs retail, all of the things that Julie Schofield would want to talk about. And so I think there's an opportunity for the city and the county to work together, but it's a task.
So, Mayor, members of the commission, it is now 5:45, and you have a meeting at 6, and you still need to have some time to eat. As Brady said, the county will be looking to have their retreat in March. We do have another meeting before that. This is something for you to think about digesting, and then we can bring it up again at the next meeting.
All right.
Consider it digested. Thank you, Brady.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, real quick, I'd like to have Cindy talk about the budget calendar. We had our first budget meeting today for the budget for the 2027 year. And while she's coming up, I'd like to invite you to see the Artisan Square next to the Information Center, that we have some artwork done, as well as in the clock tower. Magnolia Square, yes, the lights. If you go by there at night, you'll see different lights.
It's beautiful.
It's done by Parks and Recreation,
Of
particularly
course.
Mr. Jerry. So, Cindy, in 2 minutes.
Good afternoon. I just wanted to speak a little bit on the dates for the workshop sessions. Currently, we have them scheduled for July 8th and then the second for July 15th. I just wanted to check with the commission to make sure that those are okay.
July 8th, Wednesday.
Do y'all hear music? Yes.
Yes,
It's the
he's doing some jamming out
Yeah,
there.
they've already started the party.
Okay.
July 8th.
I'm available.
Yeah, what time are we going to do that?
Hoping 2 or 3,
Okay.
July 8th and what?
2 or
15th.
3.
So both dates or one of the dates?
Well, we hold both dates,
Okay.
but usually, the last couple of years, we have not used the second date.
I'm good.
8th, good, 15th, probably.
What time?
Either 2 to 3.
15th, 2 to 3 is good for me. That's the
That's
sweet
the start
spot.
time, not
Yeah.
the old time.
Well, you're still awake.
I'm gonna smack you.
What time, guys?
2?
That's between Main Street and Twy County Week of Cities.
All right, got it. We're good.
Good?
Good.
Is that it?
At 2.
All right,
Got him.
2? All right,
All right, thank you.
all right, thank you.
Thanks, Cindy.
Anything else? Okay, we're adjourned. There's dinner upstairs if you hurry.
Hurry,
We're back down
hurry,
here
hurry.
Outside at 6.
Step right up.